we should be live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream here on the H2O Plants YouTube channel. Today we are going to be going in depth on kind of just budget aquarium setups. This was a very requested topic both on our Instagram and on our YouTube community tab, where a ton of people were just kind of asking, how do you set up a budget aquarium? How do you set up a budget planted aquarium? And all these questions having to do with that. So I figured I wanted to do 3 topics during the live stream, but I figured that is one topic all within itself, as well as many other topics that were suggested. So I wrote them all down. We'll eventually get to them all, but this one stood out to me because this will influence the most people. So this is about bringing new people into our hobby. So welcome everybody that's in the live chat. We're going to be going in today. We're going to be going in depth today on how to set up a budget aquarium, where to look for stuff, how to get good deals, and just everything you need to know. And also how to make money off your aquarium, because that's also kind of a nice thing that you can make money off your hobby, which will in turn help support you growing your hobby. So we're first going to get in the first topics of, well, maybe you're brand new into the hobby, you don't have a lot of money, but you're really interested in keeping fish or planted aquariums. What should you do? Well, the first kind of steps to that is decide what's the most important what's the most important aspect of the aquarium hobby to you at the moment. Are you going to be keeping large fish? Are you going to be keeping small fish? Is it more about the planted aquarium? Is it more about aquascaping? You have to really decide on that. So if you want to do big tanks and big fish, that's a whole different aspect. That's going to probably run you more money, because when you scale up in aquarium size, not only does the aquarium cost more, the stands cost more if you're going to buy one. You're also going to spend more in filtration, lighting, all that stuff. Everything that you get is going to scale up in price. So if you're really thinking about it from most cost-effective methods, a smaller tank is going to be the best bet for you. And that's not to say that smaller fish are any less desirable than larger fish. I actually find my smallest fish to be the most entertaining to watch, because I can have so many of them. So it's really up to you and your personal preference of what you want to overall, what you want to do in your hobby. So let's say that you want to go with a smallish size aquarium, and you want to keep like a small schooling type fish, and you want to have some plants in there. That's the kind of example we're going to go over today, but I will show you some examples of other things. So first things first is figuring out the type of space that you have in your house for the aquarium. So if you have enough space for, say, a 20 gallon, a 30 gallon, 40 gallon, that kind of thing, that's what you want to look for. Now, when looking for aquariums, you could do one of 2 options. You could either look for used, or you could wait for the $1 per gallon sale that the big box stores like Petco and PetSmart typically do every 2 to 3 months. They typically do it every quarter. And so you could usually find a good deal on smaller size tanks. So you could find a 10-gallon tank for $10, and then you could either build or buy a stand, and that would be the cheapest way to get a tank new. Now, the other side to that is you could buy it used. You could really look anywhere. You could look on Craigslist. You could look on Facebook Marketplace. We'll actually take a look at Facebook Marketplace in just a second. You could look on apps like LetGo. You could look on other kind of fish tank forums somebody maybe in your local area trying to get rid of. You could even probably check out your local fish club if you have one in your area. There may be people there that bring in tank setups that they just no longer want and just want to get rid of, and they'll auction it off to the club so you could get it on the cheap. The other really easy way to get an aquarium, and I do this all the time, is I drive around on bulk garbage day looking for people that are throwing at aquariums. I've found so many aquariums on the side of the road that are perfectly fine, just people are getting out of the hobby, and that's typically the best time to do this is during the spring or summer, because that's when a lot of people tend to get out of the hobby or just don't want to deal with aquariums, is during the warmer months. They don't want to be cooped up inside with the fish. They want to be outside enjoying, you know, nice weather and whatnot. So you'll find people just getting rid of stuff on the side of the road. Oftentimes you'll find whole aquarium setups with stands, or just perfectly good aquariums. I found numerous tanks like this, and they're absolutely free. So that's no negatives there. You absolutely get a tank for no cost at all, and boom, you saved yourself a couple dollars. So when you go and you find them on the side of the road, of course, you're going to want to check for any kind of leaks, any kind of cracked glass. All that could be either fixed, repaired, or you could do hacks around that kind of stuff. So you just be wary of picking stuff on the side of the road. You do want to properly test everything before you actually go through and say go pick up your fish or start everything. You want to like make sure that it's leak tested and whatnot. But that's a really easy way, and if you don't have a car, then maybe that's not an option for you, or maybe you can get your parents to drive you around or whatnot. So let's take a look real quick at Facebook Marketplace. I just wanted to kind of go in depth on where to really look, because it's super easy to find aquariums for sale online. So we'll see if this works. Oh, that's that screen. We're going to go to that screen. Okay. So this is a little blown up. I just typed in aquarium at the top search here. And there's more results all along the page, but for some reason my web browser is only giving these right here. So we'll just go through some of these. But you can take a look here. Like you got a 55 gallon here saltwater tank. And just because it says saltwater doesn't mean that you can't use it for freshwater. You just obviously have to clean it out, take all the stuff out. But if you're going for freshwater, you want to kind of look for freshwater tanks, tank setups, because you're going to get a filter that's already set up usually. You're going to get lights and you're going to get all that stuff meant for freshwater. And if you're looking for saltwater, same kind of thing. So if you look through here, you'll just see, you know, a 55 gallon tank for 85 bucks. Let's just click on this and see what it is. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess, well, you can't see the whole description, but it basically says selling our fish tank, very good condition, no stand or accessories included. So I would say when you buy a used tank, if you're going to spend anything more than $1 per gallon of the tank size, so if you're buying a 55 gallon tank, it shouldn't cost you any more than $55. That's just kind of the going rate. A lot of these people, they pick up these tanks on the $1 per gallon sale, and I know the $1 per gallon sale doesn't apply to larger tanks anymore. It really only goes up to, I think, 30 gallons or 40 gallons. So typically like 55s and 75s aren't $1 per gallon anymore. But a lot of people pick these up when they were on sale, or they got them used. They're not worth much more than $1 per gallon. So don't get ripped off when you're looking for aquariums that are, you know, like that 55 gallon for $85. If it doesn't come with anything, it's not worth it. If it came with the stand, that would be great, but it doesn't. So, but we'll just click back over here and just, you know, kind of just scroll through a little bit just so I could show you here. And, you know, there's plenty of aquariums. You know, here's a 29 gallon for 30 bucks. Looks like it's going to come with a bunch of extras. That's an awesome deal. Not only are you getting the filter, it looks like, let's see. Comes with numerous supplies to get you started. Fish net, water, heaters, air pump, etc. Boom, there you go. You got everything you essentially need, most likely, to start a tank up, except with the exception of a planted tank light. It does say that there's a lid with LED light not included in here, so I don't know if it comes with a light, but for 30 bucks, that's a really good deal. And you can have a 29 gallon tank, all the stuff you need for it, and right out the gate, that's 30 bucks. Retail wise, if you did get it on the $1 per gallon sale, you'd pay 30 bucks for the tank, plus the filter, which would maybe be $10 to $20, and any of the other accessories, you're probably looking upwards of maybe like $80, $90 when it's all said and done. So you instantly get it for a third of the price. That's a really good deal. So you're at 30 bucks. Now you have $60 to invest in a really good light. Typically, you can find aquarium lights online through Marketplace or other fish groups on Facebook, as well as other sites. But I do recommend doing the research on the light in particular. When people are selling lights, they may not be effective for growing plants. So when you look for lights, I really recommend Amazon. There's some really cheap ones. So much so is that I bought this light recently, which is a night crew light, and you can see it is really bright. And I'm currently using it on a different tank. And this, I believe, is only 20 bucks. So we're sitting at, and this would fit on a 29 gallon and light it effectively to grow plants. So you're looking at now, say, a $50 cost. $50, you have a 29 gallon tank, you have a light. The other thing that you're going to want to get is substrate. So substrate, you could use a wide variety of things. Yes, you can grow plants in sand. Yes, you could grow them with gravel. You could take soil out of your yard, cook it, and then put it in the aquarium. So these are all things that you could do. I personally recommend lighting and substrate are the two places where you want to kind of spend money when setting up a planted tank. So you'll want to buy a good planted aquarium substrate. Oftentimes you'll get them with the aquarium setup that you're buying from somebody. If they had a planted aquarium or if they just had sand, you could use either one. And if you're trying to save money, go with whatever they're providing. If not, try and fit it into your budget. I know you could probably, for a 29-gallon tank, you could probably buy one bag of Eco Complete or an aqua soil for anywhere between $20 and $40, and that would fill the tank pretty much, and you'd be fine with just one bag. So now we're at about $100 for the overall setup. You have a tank with substrate, lights, filter, heater, you have your accessories, that kind of stuff. And I mean, for $100, you're into the hobby and you got a tank. Now, so let's talk about what you're going to put in the aquarium. So you have a couple things to consider. You're going to have decorations, or if you're going to do plants. So let's go with live plants, because I obviously like live plants, and many of you that I'm sure are watching this want to know about live plants also. So when you think about live plants, you could go just a plethora of options. You can go on the Facebook groups. There's plenty of Facebook groups out there for high-tech, low-tech, aquascaping, all these groups where people, other hobbyists like yourself or hobbyists like me, before I started this whole business around this, we're just selling as we trim a tank and we have some extra things. We're just saying, hey, pay shipping and we'll ship it to you. So oftentimes you could get a bundle of plants for no more than, say, $20, even if they're going to charge you like $10 for it on top of the shipping. So you get a load of plants for $20, and now guess what? You got a ton of plants, you stick them in the aquarium, you got a decent light, you got a good substrate, now they're going to start to grow. And as those plants grow, you could do the same thing. You could start trimming them and then selling them off to help fund the rest of the aquarium. So by just a $120 investment, you could essentially be making, I would say, maybe $20 to $50 a month off that aquarium, depending on what plants they are, how popular they are, and you know, how eager you are to sell them and how on top of it you are once you have some success growing them. The other option, if you don't want to directly go into plants, you could go into breeding fish and or shrimp. I would advise, if you're going to do anything, I would say shrimp is probably the way to go, or guppies. Guppies breed really easily. You practically have to do nothing. They're going to breed tons of them. You'll get tons of babies. And you could oftentimes either sell them online if you want to ship fish. You could list them on the local marketplace, on Facebook, Craigslist, those kind of things, and find local buyers for those fish in your area. And you could charge a lot less than, say, a fish store would, because you don't have any of the overhead or any of the costs associated with it, because you literally just have a tank and you got tons of guppies breeding in it. So you could sell the fry. Those fry will eventually afford you enough money that you can then purchase plants for your aquarium, and then you could go in that direction and sell both the fry and the plants, or the shrimp babies and the plants, and that kind of thing. So you'll you just kind of make money from that point once you set it up, and you have all these things, and that could afford you your next aquarium if you maybe stash that money. Maybe you make $100 a month off your tank. You put that money aside. You get a couple $100, and then you maybe get a bigger tank or get more tanks, or maybe get like a rimless tank if you couldn't find one. Maybe now you can actually afford to buy a rimless setup and have a really nice, you know, looking tank. Not to say that rim tanks aren't nice looking, but I mean the rimless effect is very nice for aquascaping. So that's really kind of how you can start off with about a $100 budget, maybe $150, and then work your way into making money off of your aquarium and being able to afford your hobby. So as low as about $100, you could probably get invested, have a small tank, and I mean, you could pocket the money. You don't have to reinvest if you don't want to set up more tanks. Maybe you just want one, and it's like, okay, this is cool. I actually have one guy that supplies me with a plant called Starigani repens. It's a carpeting plant that he grows in a 20-gallon long tank. And I pay him, I think I get it for, I want to say maybe about 60 to 75 cents a stem. And I do it more to help out the hobby. He's a hobbyist, and he has a ton of plants that he wants to get rid of. But when he trims his whole tank, I literally buy like 300 plus stems from him, in a giant garbage bag full of plants. And he just has that one tank, and he makes a couple $100 every couple weeks off of that tank from me, because I get a lot of people wanting to buy that plant. It's fully grown in water, so it's great for me, and it's just a reciprocating thing. So that, you know, he makes a decent amount of money off just that one tank with those plants. So that's kind of the whole thing there on how to make money, how to do all these things with your aquarium and get it on a good price. So let's see what we got going on here. We got some people in the chat. We're gonna open it up to look at and see what people are saying. And yeah, so we'll see if anybody has any other suggestions for you know, budget aquariums or stuff. What's going on, everybody? So Eric K says Craigslist for a tank, DIY a wood aquarium stand. Yeah, so there's lots of DIY methods. If you're handy and crafty, you could even build your filter out of DIY, like PVC. You can get an air pump, air stone, really cheap, and you can do it like that. You don't even necessarily need to get a hang-on back filter or a canister filter, depending on what you're gonna do. Russ Peck says Pet Supplies also does a $1 per gallon sale too. Yeah, they do. I think they typically either do it at the same time or right after Petco and PetSmart are done with those. Viola says I look for aquariums on garbage day, but no luck there. It tends to be definitely in the warmer months. You won't really find it during the winter. That's typically when a lot of people are trying to like get a lot of tanks, because everybody gets into the hobby more. So winter. When fall and winter hit, you're going to probably pay a bit more than you would if you were going to buy it used from somebody during the summer, because a lot of people are just trying to get rid of it. So Andrew says I got a lot of platies start off with, 8 of them. Now I got a whole school of them. Yeah, so you could, you know, also growing your aquarium in you know, stocking wise, if you get something like a platy or guppy, or I think even angelfish and like discus can breed in the aquarium and won't eat their young. I'm not 100% on that, but you can even, you know, say start off with just 2 or 3 of a fish, breed them, and then, you know, if you have a big tank, you could all of a sudden have a giant, you know, a livestock pool in your aquarium from that. Madfish Diva says getting rocks at landscaping or rock yards. Yeah, that's a great thing. If you for aquarium rocks, oftentimes there's a premium when it comes to driftwood and just everything in general for aquarium. If you go into an aquarium dedicated store or you order it online, you will find that there's it's a bit more expensive if you were going to go to, say, Home Depot or a landscaping or rock yard. You could pick up these rocks a lot cheaper. Of course, they're not going to be the dedicated aquascaping stones, but for the most part, if you do test the rocks, they're usually aquarium safe. And there's you can find a video on vinegar testing rocks or acid testing rocks to see if they're okay for an aquarium. But yeah, you could get rocks and other hardscape. You could even probably go search your local creek and find things. Just, of course, be smart about it. Sanitize. Make sure you're allowed to remove stuff. And you know, all that good stuff. But yeah, absolutely, landscaping yards or rock yards are another way. Life with Pets is here. It says thrift store. Several of mine came from there. Yeah, thrift stores or secondhand stores, another great thing. Oftentimes, thrift stores, they'll have huge tanks because people don't know what else to do with them, so they bring them to thrift stores, and they'll probably have like a 90-gallon tank for $10 or something. So you could literally walk out of there with a huge aquarium for really cheap, because in a store, a large tank like that will take up a lot of footprint, and that is not good for a store, especially since in the aspect of like a thrift store or a secondhand store, aquarium supplies is going to be maybe like a 1% of their total gross volume, where clothes and furniture and I don't know, like women accessories like earrings and jewelry and all that stuff, that's going to make up the other 99% of their sales. So for them to have to hold a tank in their thrift store. They're not going to hold it for long. They're going to have it priced really cheap. So that's another method to getting a good to getting an aquarium really cheap. You could also, I mean, I gave away my 90. I had gotten a 90 gallon from somebody within an hour from here when we first moved into this house, because I thought I was going to set up a 90 gallon. After doing some more kind of thinking about it, I decided I only wanted to do 75s, just because a 90 gallon is the same dimensions as a 75 except taller, and I didn't want to go taller just because it was going to be more of a pain in the butt. So literally, I think I had set it on a live stream or set it on Instagram or something. I was like, listen, I got a 90 gallon with a stand for free. If anybody wants it, they can come and take it, because I don't want to, I don't want to deal with it and whatever. And somebody came and got it. They got a 90 gallon absolutely free. I was like, just take it. Just take it as long as you come and get it. So, big tanks are usually easier to get cheap when people are just looking to get rid of them. But oftentimes, like I said in the beginning, if people are trying to charge you more than $1 per gallon of what the tank size actually is, unless there's like other stuff involved, like you're getting a light and a stand and other stuff, it's not worth more than that. Gabe says you could go to your local fish store and they might have some used tanks. Yeah. One of my local fish stores was actually moving. They closed down temporarily. They're relocating and whatnot, and he hit me up and he asked me if I wanted to buy some stuff at really cheap, lights and stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time. I couldn't get out to him, but I know he was selling stuff dirt cheap. So lots of used tanks, lots of lights, all this stuff. So unfortunately, local fish stores some of them don't survive. So if you're fortunate enough to find a local fish store that's maybe not doing too well, or maybe they're looking to downsize or remodel, you could maybe find stuff like that. I know there's a couple abandoned aquarium stores locally that used to be around maybe a year or two ago, and they're no longer in business, and there's still tanks sitting in there. So if you happen to know an owner of some sort, then you could probably get stuff cheaply. Aquatopia Fish says, I do the wall stab method, no filter, no CO2, my plants are thriving. Yeah, so there's many methods to doing aquariums also. If you just want maybe a planted aquarium and you're not really worried about fish or anything like that, you could do a wall stab method. You could even add in some fish, but the idea is you keep the livestock load very low. So these are things like the wall stab method. You don't need a filter, you don't need a heater, but I don't recommend that for really new beginners into planted aquariums, because you kind of have to get down the basics first with the equipment to figure out how everything works, and then once you start getting into that, you could try the no filter, no heater, or nothing like that method. So Ari says, I found that the biggest problem with a low budget planted tank is finding lighting that can help low light plants grow. Yeah, so when it comes to low budget planted tanks, the problem is oftentimes people go right for the 55 gallon tank. I know that was one of my first things. I went from a 10 to a 29 to a 50. The 55 gallon is one of the worst planted aquarium tanks that you can get, just because its overall dimensions and the fact that it's going to cost a lot more to get effective lighting. Now, if you were to do a 55 gallon or bigger, I would recommend fluorescent lights over LED. They're going to be cheaper upfront cost, and you can normally find used shop lights to put on your aquarium. But if you go smaller aquariums, the LEDs, like I showed you, the $20 LED strip is much more affordable on a smaller tank. So I prefer smaller tanks when it comes to planted aquariums. Can I get a 40 gallon breeder for $1 at the $1 per gallon sale? No, so they removed the 40 gallon breeder and up tanks from the $1 per gallon sale. It used to be that. However, the 40 gallon is still cheaper than what it used to be, because the way they used to do it is they used to give so the way it worked is, I think a 40 gallon tank, my numbers may be off here, but I believe they had it listed at $120 was the retail cost to buy the tank when it's not on sale. So when it was on sale for $1 per gallon, it would be $40. However, because the way they did the discount, they charge you tax on the $120. So I don't know what your tax rates are in your area. in New York, where I was buying mine, they were almost 9%. There's a bug in here. They were almost 9%. So they were charging you 9% on the $120, so that works out to be, I think, $15 to $20 in taxes. So overall, the tank came out to be about $60. Now with the $1 per gallon sale, the way they're doing it, however they're coding it in their system, it's a $50 charge, or maybe it might have been $100 the tank, and they were selling it for $40, because now it comes out to $50 because it's a half price. And then they just charge you tax on the $50. So you only pay like $55 here. I don't know what your taxes rates are, but that's essentially, it still works out to almost be right around the same price or cheaper. Now for the bigger tanks, I didn't do the math. It may work out to be about the same. But yeah, the 40, pretty much only 29 gallons and lower you can get for the $1 per gallon. But still, personally, if I was going to do any sort of plant and tank, 20-gallon longs, the best aquarium to get. You could take the rim off if you want, and you instantly have a rimless tank for 20 bucks. Great deal. I have no problems growing most plants with a Beamswork LED light. I have a Java Moss factory going on. That's great, Russ. Yeah, I'm personally not a fan of Beamswork lights, but that's not to say that they can't grow plants. I tried one time. I didn't like it. I returned it. It was just a mixture of things. But those are relatively inexpensive lights. Also, I do like the Night Crew because the Night Crew has red, blue, and green LEDs, which emit the light needed for the plants to grow properly. White light contains all the spectrums, but specifically having the red, blue, and green, primarily the red and blue lights, really help to grow plants more, to grow them better. And the green light really accents the green colors in the plant, so it really helps, and that's why I like the Night Crew light. But you know, a cheap LED light will grow plants. I have a cheap LED bulb downstairs on our carnivorous pond setup. It grows perfectly fine. So you could grow plants with relatively any light will work. Erie says, before you came on, we were talking about grapevine roots and willow branches and other trees that are safe to add in an aquarium. Any tips on other branches, roots that we can use? So I don't know off the top of my head, so I don't want to make any suggestions that people will go out and possibly mess up their aquarium. I just suggest do your research. Most woods, you could, you know, if you have woods by your area, maybe like a little trail or something, and you find like a piece of wood, if you know what kind of tree it is, try and identify the tree, then look it up. Just type in, you know, let's say maplewood. Is maplewood aquarium safe? And you'll find what it is. Some plants, or some trees like cedar, I think cedar is definitely toxic to crustaceans, I believe. It's like a insecticide, almost like it repels insects. So if you're trying to do a shrimp tank with cedar, probably not going to work out. Other than that, I know like spiderwood is azalea plant roots, so if you have an azalea bush, maybe you want to get rid of, you can possibly get the roots and maybe dry them out. Not 100% sure on how those are made or whatnot, but I'm imagining you probably dry them out. As far as like other woods, if you say have a stream body that you know does not contain any toxic runoff from any factories or anything like that that may be built along the stream, upstream from where you're gathering at, you could take those pieces of wood that have been in that stream, maybe on the shoreline, and put those in your aquarium after you kind of boil them, disinfect them, kind of thing, and those will be fine because they're waterlogged. So those are all kind of methods, but particularly with like branches from trees or fallen wood, I tend to not even like think about that, just because you run the risk of introducing toxins. Some trees are toxic to aquariums, so it's not an ideal situation to do that. How's it going, Matthew? At my neighborhood store, it goes up to $75. That's awesome, Ethan. Well, I'm glad that you get the $1 per gallon sale. Russ says, I use cedarwood with no problems at all. I've heard that it can impact crustaceans, so I don't know. I don't know about that. Life with Pet says the holiday sales are great too, especially around Thanksgiving and Christmas. I got an amazing deal on a brand new 75-gallon with a light and a stand. Yeah, I saw that. That was a special that literally ran for like a couple hours around. I think it might have. I don't think it was Black Friday. I think it was like somewhere in the middle of Thanksgiving and Christmas. I almost ordered it also, but I was like, it'll be around tomorrow. And by the time tomorrow came around, it was gone. So when you see sales like that, I think they had a full setup of a 75-gallon with a light and stand for like $100 or $150. Typically like $450. And it was just a great thing. So I wish I would have jumped on that, but let's see. Gabe says, I work at my local fish store, and people just bring tanks in all the time that they don't want. Yeah, see, people are always just, you know what it is? People get into the hobby, they get interested, maybe they, saw a betta fish at their friend's house. I know when people come over here, they're like, this is amazing. They see all these tanks, they're just, it blows their mind. And, some people want to get into it. So they'll, go get a tank, they'll put a fish in it, maybe they didn't do their research on how to take care of the fish properly and whatnot, and then they have problems, the fish dies, the plants don't do well, whatever, and they say, you know what, screw it, it was a waste of money, and they try and get rid of it. So, unfortunately, that's kind of the turnover with our hobby. People come in, and, maybe for every 10 people that come in, we keep 2 of them, and the other 8 leave. I don't know the exact numbers, but there's definitely a high turnover rate with aquarium hobbyists. So I'm from Alabama, and we got all types of wood. Yeah, it's really just you gotta identify the type of wood and do your research on it. I go to Home Depot for a cheap light for a low light tank. Yeah, you could even just use clip-on shop lights from Home Depot with a LED bulb or whatever. If the tank's shallow enough, I would say anything under maybe like 14 inches, completely fine for those kind of light. Even if it's just like low light plants on a taller tank, you could get away with those. If it's higher light plants, but typically as a newcomer or trying to just get set up on a budget, you probably want to be getting into harder style plants. So let's see. Wait, taxes are not included on the price? No, the taxes are always separate. Does anyone dumpster dive at big chain stores and find any deals? So I'm not encouraging anybody to do that. Definitely don't go pillaging your local fish stores' dumpsters. But I have heard that people find even some controversial things I've seen in the past where people find possibly live animals. I've seen stuff. I haven't dove into it to see if it's true or not. And, there could always be fake articles revolving around it. But I have seen people find reptiles in the garbage of some of the big box stores. I don't know which ones. I don't know what the cases were or whatever. But I have seen some stuff. So, I mean, if they're throwing away reptiles, if that is true, who knows what you could find in a dumpster. But it's probably illegal, so I don't recommend doing it. So... KLC PCA says, unless posted as no trespassing, if it's in a dumpster, it's fair game. I guess maybe. I don't know the rules. I don't know the laws around that. But hey, if you, I don't even know what to say. If you're not worried about getting arrested, sure, go for it. I don't know. Gabe says, I put pothos in my tank. They have the roots that run down. Yeah. The pothos plant is a really easy house plant. I have tons of them. I have some in my bathroom that gets... I mean, it's got a window, but they're out of direct light, and they grow phenomenally. They're a great plant that you could... if you had no fish or if you had tons of fish in your aquarium, and you don't have you don't have plants, maybe you have fish that don't get well with along with plants, you could put pothos on the top of your aquarium and just rest the roots in the aquarium, and it would help do the same job that plants normally do. Matthew Moore Cichlid says, I missed the $1 per gallon sale. Yeah, but it comes around about every 2 to 3 months, so don't worry, there'll be another one, especially in Q4, which is the fourth quarter, biggest retail months. You'll definitely find deals. So just be a little patient. and you'll definitely be able to find some. Awesome looking tanks, Master Aquarius at work. Oh, these tanks, you can't see it on camera, but these tanks are in dire need of some help. This one, algae everywhere. I just haven't had time to get in here and really clean it up, but tons of algae. The water line is really low, as you can see. I haven't really done any maintenance. This tank behind me, I don't even know what's going on. This tank has a nasty breakout of a type of cyanobacteria, which could be highly toxic if disrupted. So I'm not messing with it at the moment. I got to get a face mask and dive in there. So yeah, that tank is so-so. This tank was the one that cracked when we... can you see this tank on camera? I don't know if you can actually see this tank. Yeah, you can see this tank. This tank was cracked when we brought it to Reefapalooza. And now I rebuilt it, or I got a new tank, and I put everything back in, and now it's covered in algae. So I gotta clean that out. And the other tank, same thing, covered in algae. So haven't had enough time to fix all these things. And then the other tank that you guys haven't seen yet off to the side is still doing its thing currently, waiting on that to sort itself out. But yeah, you say the tanks look great, but you don't see them in person. So. I've started, Jose says, I've started with a 55 gallon and agreed that for planted tanks, it's better to start with smaller tanks. Yes. So many people, I've already done videos on this, but so many people say, get the biggest aquarium that you possibly can. And I disagree with that very hard, like very, very firmly when it comes to planted aquariums. When it comes to planted aquariums, smaller is best. It's easier to maintain. It's cheaper in the long run because if you're just thinking about an aquarium to just keep, fish, let's just say you want an Oscar, right? Oscars don't require much. You can stick it in a tank. You don't need a light. You don't need substrate. Perfectly fine. When it comes to plants, you need a light. You need a decent substrate at least. I mean, you can grow in sand and gravel, but you'll get better results with a better substrate, and all that costs a lot of money. So when it comes to planted aquariums, smaller is better, and my ideal tank setup for a newbie that's not getting a rimless, 20-gallon long tank, perfect for aquascaping. You could do some nice things in there, and you could remove the rim to create a rimless tank if you really wanted to, just because it's such a small tank that it doesn't really need the rim for structural support. Wesley says, I've found a 47-gallon that way. I'm assuming that you found it in the garbage of a big box store. I remember my first tank was 2 betas in a divided 10-gallon. I would change the water every 2 weeks for full water change. Well, that actually sounds like a lot of maintenance, but yeah. Where's your little assistant daughter today? I don't know. She's in the living room, I think. Babe. Let's see if she answers me. Babe. Margaret. She can't hear me. I'm gonna tell her to bring that. Frank says, algae or no algae, you are still the best. Well, thank you, Frank. Yeah, well, I'm gonna be going in depth with each tank, what's going on with it when we come up to those videos. First, I want to treat the problems, get them situated. Babe, there she is. She was upstairs. Margaret, bring me the baby. Bring me the baby. Bring me. I get the baby. I say start with a 20-gallon. Yeah, 20 gallons are best. I have a 10-gallon and a 125. Nice, Andrew. Well, now the question is, which one do you like more? I mean, 10 gallons are fine too. I just like 20-gallon longs because they're a shallower footprint, so they're much easier to light than a 10-gallon, which is, I believe, either taller or same size. There she is. Hey, you. Come. Pass the baby. Pass the baby. Oh, what we got going on here? Here she is. You're gonna see the camera and be like, ooh. Hey, that's you. You see you? Do you see you? Yeah. She's like, okay, cell phone. I'm gonna be making calls, Daddy. We got business to run here. Hi. Yeah. Say hi. Okay, you want to touch the computer. She's so smart. That's so smart. Yeah. What? Oh, nope. You touch the button. Don't touch the button. You getting ready to go upstairs?
No, I'm waiting for you to finish.
Okay. What time is it? Oh, I got... Oh. Make it dark. Look. You want this? Yeah, that's a toy. Okay, in your mouth goes. Some low-tech demanding plant series. Some low-tech demanding plant series. What do you mean? Like plants that are low-tech that are demanding? What's up, Waterbox? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Also, I want to grow moss, but it's just taking like crazy. Yeah, moss is one of those, you just gotta kind of put it in there and then leave it be. Let it do its thing. Why? No, no touchy the computer. No touchy. What's up, Maritza? Beautiful baby Nova, thank you. Puffy cheeks. Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah. Does she bang on tanks yet? Not yet. She can't crawl or walk just yet. She's almost crawling. She's almost there. Probably another week or two. And then she'll be crawling. And then I gotta really worry about her. She's gonna be getting downstairs and stuff. I gotta put gates everywhere. Oh, for those that don't know, next week, if you're in the Brooklyn area or New York City, I'll be speaking at the Brooklyn Aquarium Society, where we're going to be going in depth on planted tanks in general. And if you want to come out, you could hit up Brooklyn Aquarium Society or go on our Facebook page. I have it saved there as an event, so you can check that out. She's what, 7 months now? Yep. She's being a little lazy with the crawling. I think she should be crawling by now, but she's almost there. You know what it is? She didn't like tummy time until like 2 months ago. She hated being on her stomach. She would cry. She would cry. Yeah, you would cry. What you got? Thoughts on Osmocote fertilizer for the main source of fertilizer for rooted plants and stem plants. Thank you in advance. Cute baby, by the way. Thank you. So a lot of people have used Osmocote. I've used Osmocote. After doing research into it, I don't think it's a good thing for your aquarium. Yes, it works. It's cheap. But you're better off with a better type of root tab. I'm gonna be going more in depth on Osmocote when I do my video on this topic. But essentially Osmocote, what it is it's a capsule with a liquid or like a granular fertilizer inside of it. So I have the research. I haven't fully like formulated it, but basically the way I think about it is Osmocote's one of those that you put it in your potted plants that are like house plants or outside in your garden or whatnot, and it's a slow release fertilizer. Which means that it releases fertilizer as it gets wet and it releases it slowly. Now when it's in an aquarium, oh, look at what mommy got you. A spoon. Yeah, there you go. So Osmocote is meant to be used outside, and when it gets wet, it releases its fertilizer slowly. Now, when it's kept in a constant wet state, it's constantly leaking fertilizer, which means, in my mind, it would run out very quickly. Now, I haven't tested this to be sure, but when it comes to, you know, watering a garden or watering houseplants, you're only doing that. Yeah, you're only doing that like once a week. So it's only really getting wet once a week and for a couple hours, and then it dries out and it's not releasing anything anymore. So when it's constantly wet, it's constantly releasing. I don't know what the lifespan on that really is. To me, it would be very short. The other thing is the capsules don't, yeah, the capsules, you having fun there? Yeah, we're gonna go do this again? You did this to me last time. I tried talking and then you make noises. Okay. So the capsules also don't add anything itself to the substrate that you have. So if you use Osmocote in stuff like sand or gravel, it doesn't amend the soil or the substrate at all. You need a good clay-based soil for the proper transfer of nutrients from the plant roots from the soil to the plant roots. You need a good soil that's laterite based or clay. So clay, it's called a cation exchange, and what it does is it traps. It has a negative charge, and it traps minerals to its pores, basically. And when those nutrients get trapped, the roots can then access it through their transfer of either they give off a positive charge, and then they take in the nutrients, or whatever the case is. However they absorb the nutrients, they need to do that through a good substrate. So sand and gravel don't have any of the cation exchange value, and every substrate has a value to it. So I'm going to really go into depth on this in another video. I have all the research done. I just have to formulate it into a well thought out manner. But yeah, as for Osmocote fertilizers, they're okay. They're not the best. And I don't think people should be using them just because it's almost a waste. You want something that's actually going to give your tank good C value, it's called, and you want to give and something that gives good nutrients. So our root tabs that we sell, shameless plug, are mineralized topsoil and clay. So it's like adding dirt to your aquarium. Yeah, it's like adding dirt to the aquarium. So it's very beneficial to plants. So that's something. Yeah, she's helping out with the show. That she is. She's the co-host. Yeah? How's the spoon taste? Good? You see yourself? I think she sees herself. Or she just wants to click the buttons. So yeah. I meant some plants who don't need CO2 injection or high intensity lights. Example, jungle bell. Oh yeah? Oh. Yeah? What are you getting excited about? What do you see? What? She loves cell phones, so I had to order her. I ordered her a toy cell phone, a like little. I don't know. It's like a little Fisher Price type thing. I think it's made by not Leapfrog, VTech. And then I also ordered her a remote because she likes the remote for the TV. So I ordered her that's a Leapfrog remote, so it actually like teaches her stuff because she's just fascinated. Like she's already looking at phones, like picking them up, figuring them out, and then putting them in her mouth. So, what's up, Scottish Aquatics? What happened at Fishtown, USA? I hope you picked his brains while he was around. Well, he's moving. He was actually the store that I was talking about. He recently is relocating. He shut down his store temporarily, and right now I think he may have a space, or he's scouting around a couple spaces to figure out where he wants to go. New Jersey is very difficult to find a store location for when it comes to aquariums and stuff, because there are certain counties in New Jersey that don't allow retail operations on Sundays. So the weekends are the biggest day for aquarium stores. You're going to get everything from the family outing that people are like, oh, let's go to a fish store and get fish, to the people that just don't have off during the week that want to go to the fish store. So being able to operate on a Sunday is highly important. So that was something that I know that he was having trouble finding. I know he's found a couple places, but that's one aspect. And then he was also telling me some counties don't allow sales of pets in stores. So that was very interesting. That I didn't know that there was actually restrictions around this area. So it's just something to keep in mind if I ever go to set up my store and what I have to look out for. Let's see that desert tank looking tank in the back. I love that tank. Well, that tank is no good right now. Things are not good in this tank. I have to figure out how to get rid of this cyanobacteria that's growing in it that can possibly be toxic. So I definitely don't want to mess with it until I'm fully vetted on what's going on with it. Yeah, Could be bad. Yeah, dude. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs. Hey. Eli's Tropical Fish in Forham Park is a good one. Is that in New Jersey? Justin, I need some help thinking about carpeting my discus tank and need some rare moss. What do you recommend? Rare moss? Well, it also is going to depend on your temperature of your discus tank. Typically, discus are kept at a much higher temp. Mosses typically are cold water or, you know, like semi-tropical growing plants, so they don't like to be really hot. What goes on? Hey, put your tongue in your mouth. Why you got your tongue hanging out? Yeah, you see the aquariums. Wow. Stand up. There you go. There you go. See, look, I can stand. What? What? Wait, she's pretty much holding up her weight right now. I'm just stabilizing her. Yeah. What? Even though she's not crawling, she's able to hold herself up. If she could just figure out how to balance. Just figure out how to balance. There you go. Hi. What? Reaching for the computer? No, you can't have that. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yeah. Morristown, maybe 25 minutes drive from Elizabeth area. I'll have to check that out, Nick. Thanks. Thanks for the suggestion. It's nice to see you, but it's time to go to bed. Long day at work. Well, thank you for hanging out, and have a good rest of your night. Gotta go make dinner. Great stream. Thank you, Matthew. Oh, and the last thing I want to add also, Aquatic Experience is coming up. It's about a month and a half away. For anybody that may not know what it is, it's a giant aquatic convention that's going to be held here in New York / New Jersey. It's at the Meadowlands. If you're in the area, do try and make it out where we have a booth number 535. That'd be awesome to see you guys. Wow. That reminds me, I have a month and a half to get at least 2 of these tanks ready to be brought there. Oh god. I think I might just have to go with the 2 smallest ones. See what I can do. Wow. Alright guys, well, if you have any other lasting questions about budget aquariums or making money with your aquarium hobby, feel free to ask. If you wouldn't mind, when this video is done publishing, you can leave your suggestions for next week's topic in the comments. That would really help me to figure out what to do. I mean, I have a couple topics that people have suggested, but I'll definitely be looking for more and more. So if you have any topic suggestions, definitely leave them in the comments below. What are you doing? You gonna say bye to everybody because we're gonna be leaving soon? Because you gotta go and take a bath because you stink? What are you doing? Yeah, you stink. Nope, that's my phone. Her brother literally was like showing her a YouTube video the other day, and I guess she grabbed it because she wanted to watch whatever was being watched. And so he's like, oh, just let her have it. And then I walk into the room and she has it in her mouth. I'm like, no, why? Why are you? Why did you give her that phone? It's so dirty. I'm like, you can't. Yeah, I know, because you just want to put everything in your mouth. I'm like, oh, does this fit? Does this fit? Yeah. Do you see yourself? Do you see yourself? Yeah. Thank you, KL. Yeah, she's got her mama's hair. Luckily, her mama's Spanish, so she's got very thick Spanishy hair. I am fighting with algae in my planted aquarium. I am doing 9 hours of light, CO2, 2 bubbles per second, using PPS Pro method. What do you recommend to stop algae? Well, Dwight, it's really going to depend on the type of algae. What I would recommend is 9 hours is probably a little too much light. I'd cut that down. At least to 8 hours. I typically run my lights anywhere between 6 and 8. I tend to stay at about 6 hours. Any more than that, and no. What are you doing? She's trying to reach for the computer so much. No computer for you. Who is that? Who is that right there? So yeah, so typically 6 to 8 hours is a good place to start. Yeah. And the other way that you can help combat algae is, well, for one, figuring out what type of algae it is, seeing what's causing it, you know, if it's blackbeard, hair algae, any of that. Do some manual removal. You could also do hydrogen peroxide treatments. Got a bottle right here. You put it in a spray bottle, like this, and you go in, turn off your filter, you kind of spray everything down that is covered in algae. You wait about 15 minutes, and then you turn your filter back on. You do that, rinse and repeat every day. You could also treat with Excel, which I'm also doing, because Excel is a chemical that takes care of algae pretty quickly. But it's also like a nuclear option. What? Okay, you're getting restless. We got 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Green algae on glass. Well, that's actually an easy one. So green algae is definitely most likely caused because you have your light on for too long. That's typically what it's caused by, or your light is too intense, in which case if you have a dimmer, dim it down a little bit. But it's probably the 9 hours is a little too much. Nerite snails, easy solution. Got a nerite snail or two, put them in your aquarium. They'll eat the algae on the glass, no problem. The other option is definitely Excel. I have a tank downstairs that was getting the green slime algae all over the glass, and I was actually dosing the Excel to try and get rid of staghorn algae that was starting to form up because I was messing around with CO2. And so staghorn algae was starting to form. I double dosed Excel because I don't have any livestock in there. It's just the plants, and the Excel wiped all that out and all the algae that was growing on the glass. So it hasn't come back yet, knock on wood, but it's only been like 2 or 3 weeks, so it could still come back. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Baby Nova, what's that? They need to hit the subscribe button if they haven't. They need to, the subscribe button. Subscribe button. Hit the like. Yeah, hit the like. And share and all that good stuff, and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what kind of topic you guys want to see in a future video or a future live stream. We'll be back in 2 weeks from now. Next Friday I am speaking at Brooklyn Aquarium Society. If anybody wants to find out more details, it's on our Facebook page. Is there any way to grow Xmas moss on glass? Kind of. You could use ledges, and it's a little tricky. You could use hydrolon mats and stick it on the side of the aquarium, like on a dry part, and you could grow it on there or whatever. There's a couple different ways. But yeah, so and we'll be at the Aquatic Experience in a month and a half, booth 535. Make sure you come out and check us out. Nova may be there. It depends on how good she is and if she's crawling by then. Because if she's crawling, she may not be able to go there. Because then she's gonna then you're gonna want to get it out and go everywhere. Yeah, that's the aquariums. She's like, I want to go swimming. I want to go swimming. Where are you going? Where are you going? Okay. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good rest of your night, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.